Hello, and welcome to Cozy Creeps, where we bundle up and pretend to be sitting by a cozy fire and listening to spooky tales. I'm Reagan,
River.
and we will be your host for this chilling story. So we are back to me because it's our true crime episode. So I'm back. I did my notes. I did it, guys. I did it.
On time.
On time. What a concept. It's like I had 2 whole weeks to do them or something. Oopsies. Anyway, yeah, we are back on track though. And I do at the beginning of this episode want to kind of give a blanket trigger warning because this one gets real rough. Real rough.
You always do the rough ones.
Hey,
Last one was rough. This one's rough. Last
this
couple.
this one it's not a happy story, obviously, but it does have a pretty good ending. I'll say that, and we'll go from there. How about that? But yeah, but like the middle part of it, real rough, real rough. So fair warning in advance. And you know what? As well, right here at the beginning of the episode, because people can skip the end of the episode real fast, we're gonna do our admin. You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also email us at cozycreepspodcast@gmail.com with your stories.
Please.
Please. Okay, that's the admin that I wanted to do. So with that, let's bundle up in our favorite blankets, grab our comfort drinks, and let's get creepy. So today we are going to be telling the story of Mary Vincent. Now, nowadays she is known as Mary Belle McGriff. Her maiden name is Vincent, but that's what we're going to call her for the majority of the story because that's the name she went by for the majority of the story. And she was born in 1963 in Las Vegas, and she was one of 7 children. I tried to find more background information, but like for some reason there's not a lot of like bibliographical, I think that's a word, information about her.
It's a word now.
It's a word now. There's not a lot of information like on her background. Like I couldn't even find her exact birth date. I just found 1963 in Las Vegas.
Did you know Las Vegas is not actually Las Vegas?
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So fun fact, the Las Vegas that people know where all the like casinos are at is actually called Paradise.
Oh, very interesting.
Las Vegas is like the little suburb that's a little south if I remember correctly.
Heard. All right. Anyway, we're gonna scoot right along past that.
Your little silver lining for the story.
Your little tidbit for the day. There's a silver lining towards the end. It's fine. But so Mary's parents were going through a really messy divorce, and this caused her to run away from home. And she eventually starts trying to hitchhike to her grandfather's house in Berkeley, California, in September of 1978. And I'm just gonna say it right here: don't hitchhike.
I've never heard a good hitchhiking story.
Don't hitchhike. Like, I know it was a thing of the times in like the 60s and 70s. Like everyone did it. No one really had that fear instilled in them yet about hitchhiking because, all these stories hadn't come out about hitchhiking yet. But yeah, just don't hitchhike. Don't do it. You don't know who you're getting in the car with. It's so dangerous.
Just call an Uber.
Just call an Uber.
I know you hitchhike because you probably don't got money, but just walk.
Just don't get in the car with a stranger, please. That's all we ask. Please and thank you. Anyway, moving on. So Mary is hitchhiking on the side of the road trying to get to her grandfather's house, and she actually finds 2 other people who are there on the side of the road with her that are also looking for a ride to Southern California. So she kind of buddies up with them while they're all trying to wait for a car to stop and get someone to give them a ride. Now, eventually, a big blue van would pull up next to Mary, and the van was driven by a scruffy looking man named Lawrence Singleton. And at first I know, my manager / his old manager, because he's a manager at a different restaurant now, is named Lawrence. So this is going to get real funny.
And once one of our friends, her maiden name Singleton?
Shingleton.
Shingleton.
Yeah.
She's got the shingles.
Shingleton, yeah. Anyway, not the point. So, at first, though, the guy didn't really give off bad vibes. Like, Mary kind of saw him almost as like a fatherly, grandfatherly figure. Like, he just didn't give off any red flags or anything initially.
Yeah, I think the same with this, Lawrence.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. The other two hitchhikers that Mary was with came up to the van as well, seeing as they were all going in the same direction, and they saw that the van was empty and there was plenty of room for all three of them. However, Lawrence said that he could only take Mary and not the other two.
Nope. Immediate red flag.
Red flags, red flags, red flags. So obviously alarm bells are going off big time at this point. But it's getting close to nighttime, and Mary's 15. It's getting dark out. She didn't want to stay out much longer. Yeah, she's only 15.
Yeah, she ran away from home.
She ran away from home. She's 15.
Don't
Yeah.
run away from home unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah. Anyway, but so she wasn't comfortable staying out much longer with it getting dark, and she just really wanted to get to her grandfather's house as fast as possible, so she accepts the ride. And the other two hitchhikers that she was with also had red flags and alarm bells going off and were trying to convince Mary not to get in the car with Lawrence because they just felt something was really off. They were like, no, you shouldn't go with this man. But Mary was desperate, so she gets into the van. And as they start driving along, Lawrence's demeanor kind of puts her at ease, enough to the point where she actually starts to doze off and goes to sleep in the van. Now, when Mary wakes up, she notices that the signs on the road are wrong. In other words, they're going in the wrong direction. Like, they're not going to Southern California. He's taking her in a completely different direction. So Mary mentions this. She's just like, hey, like, why are we going in a different direction? Like, I'm heading towards Berkeley, you know? And without warning, Lawrence veers off the highway. So Mary starts to panic, but tries to keep her voice calm when she asks him, where are we going? Like, what happened? What's happening? And he just assures her that it's a shortcut they're taking. Like, no worries. So at this point, more alarm bells are ringing, obviously, in Mary's head. So she's trying to assess the situation without coming across as like she's panicking, so she doesn't set off Lawrence with whatever he's going to do. Now, at this point, she also happens to notice, like, while she's looking through things like, how am I going to get away if I have to run from this man? She notices her shoelace is untied. And so, again, thinking she may have to run, she bends down to tie her shoe after Lawrence, like, pulled over in the middle of nowhere. He just pulls over and stops, middle of nowhere. So she kind of opens her door and starts tying her shoe. This is where we're going to trigger warning again. This is where it's going to get real, real rough. I'm real, real sorry. You've been warned. Before she could even fully bend down to tie her shoe, a sledgehammer would come down on the back of her head. That's where we're starting. That's where we're starting. Mary also felt a hand grab her at the back of her neck and force her onto the ground. Mary would begin screaming and fighting, but no one's hearing her due to Lawrence taking them literally to the middle of nowhere. So there's no one around to help her. Now, unfortunately, Mary would be repeatedly raped throughout the night by Lawrence until morning. Mary would beg for him to set her free, but he wouldn't listen, and by morning, she just kind of felt as if she was just drifting in and out of her own body, probably in and out of consciousness too, honestly. She just felt like she was just probably disassociating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, after this long, long torture, though, Lawrence then drags Mary out of the van, because they were in the back of the van. He drags her out, and he grabs a hatchet from his toolbox. Yeah. He grabs Mary's left arm and says, quote, "You want to be set free? I'll set you free." And then he brings the hatchet down, cutting her arm off in one clean swing.
Honestly, I know how shady the situation sounds, but
Oh, it gets worse.
that's kind of impressive.
It gets worse. Yeah, it's impressive he got it off in one clean swing, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
because you're cutting through bone and muscle, like, that's a lot. Like, oof, that's, ooh, ooh. So obviously, Mary goes into shock and she starts falling back, like, falling away from him. And she's confused, though, because she's falling backwards, but she remembers feeling herself grab onto him.
Already the Phantom?
And it was then that she looked and realized that her entire arm was gone. And it was still gripping onto Lawrence.
Jesus.
Yeah. So she had gripped onto him while the arm was still attached, and then he cut it off.
Pick him, babe.
I really do. Oh, it gets so much worse. Sorry in advance. So she begins screaming and kicking on the ground, but Lawrence continues his attack. He then starts swinging at her right arm, but since she was flailing everywhere, it took him a little more effort to cut it off, but he did. After he finished hacking off her arm, he walked away, and Mary could actually see him like trying to flick and get her left arm off of him because it was still gripping onto him. So she laid there and she realized her best bet for survival is to play dead because yeah, she's still alive after all this. So Lawrence comes back and, assuming she's either dead or nearly dead, drags her over to a 30-foot cliffside and throws her over the edge.
So she's missing two arms right now.
She's missing two arms. She's completely naked because he'd been assaulting her all night. Yeah, and he throws her over a cliffside.
I don't know how you just immediately just die at that point.
Right. I
Missing
don't
two
either.
arms, like
Because she's losing a lot of blood. Like, there's a lot of blood loss happen. She also breaks 4 ribs from the fall.
I think that's the least of her worries.
Honestly, yeah. Mary, however, is a badass. And she told herself she could not die and let this man get away with what he'd done to her.
15 years old.
She's 15. Yeah, she's 15. And this girl's got the
Fueled by
will.
hatred.
This girl's got the will to fight.
Fucking
And so
all over here.
with whatever little strength she has left, while naked and bleeding out, she stuffed mud into the wounds on her arms to try and slow the bleeding, and then climbs back up the 30-foot cliff with no arms and about half her blood volume gone. Yeah.
How did they determine that though?
They figured it out at the hospital later that she'd lost about half her blood volume. Yeah. So yeah, Mary's a badass.
That's a lot of blood.
Yeah, it is.
How much blood is that?
A lot. I don't remember exactly how much is in the human body, but it's a lot.
I'm gonna look.
Go for it. But yeah, so Mary's a badass. She did make it to the top of the cliff with, again, no arms. And by the time she makes it to the top of the cliff, it's completely dark. It's nighttime. It's pitch black because she's in the middle of nowhere. Go.
An average adult human body contains about 4.5 to 5.5 liters or 9 to 12 pints of blood. So 4.5 to 6 pints of blood.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's almost a gallon.
Yeah, that's so much. Yeah, so she makes it to the top of the cliff. It's nighttime. It's pitch black out because it's the middle of nowhere. So she starts hearing cars off in the distance as she's walking through the brush, and she follows that sound, and eventually she does make it to the side of the highway. Now, once she's there, she's just hoping and waiting for a car to pass her by. And she would actually see a sports car coming, but it would speed right past her, and at that point, just all the hope left her. She was just like, oh my god, like this car, like my one chance just left. Yeah, they just sped past her, which, I mean, like, on one side of the coin, if you see someone like that, help them. But on the other side of the coin, that's also out of a horror movie.
I didn't blame them. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, I see both sides of the coin. Like, if I saw that, I would probably lose my ever-loving mind.
Yeah, like, if I had you on the car, there are some things I just don't want to deal with. And, like, who knows
I would then tell you, stop! Stop the car! Get her!
Jesus, okay.
Anyway, thankfully, though, she did not have to wait much longer for a couple who were lost while on their honeymoon to stop and, seeing how severe her injuries were, rush her to the nearest phone to call paramedics. Because again, this is 1978. They don't have cell phones. They don't have phones easily accessible. They're having to find, like, the nearest house with a phone in it or a payphone or something. Like, yeah. So they call paramedics, and once they arrived, they had her airlifted to the nearest hospital where, obviously, she was put into immediate intensive care. So her condition was critical as, like I said earlier, she'd lost half of her blood and her arms were gone. Surgeons began working quickly to stabilize her condition and to make sure that there were no infections in the wounds and to get them closed up. Now, obviously, they did not have her arms, so they could not reattach them. But Mary survives all this, and she survives the attack. She survives everything. So, in the months that followed, Mary's physical recovery was super intense. She had to be fitted for prosthetics, and then she had to pretty much relearn how to do everything with her hand that she used to do with her hands and her arms. Even just the most basic things like eating.
I can barely move my arm when it's asleep. Like, I could not.
Yeah, she had to relearn how to do everything with her new prosthetics and rehabilitate, and especially, like, she had the broken ribs too, so that had to heal. Like,
prosthetics back in the day were obviously not to
today's
level.
Yeah, they weren't to today's level, obviously. Now, as we could all imagine, her psychological wounds were way worse. She was diagnosed with PTSD after the attack, and she would suffer from regular panic attacks and nightmares. Obviously. But she did begin going to counseling and therapy, and these would become vital parts of her recovery as she grappled with just the trauma of what she'd been through and the loss of both of her arms. Like, that's incredibly traumatic on its own.
She's still alive?
Mhm. I believe
Jeez.
so, yeah. She was born in 63, so she would be older. We can look it up in a bit and see. But I think yeah, she is still alive as far as I'm aware. As far as I saw, I didn't see anything about her passing. Um, but after this, Mary was obviously able to identify her attacker and give a very detailed description of him, so authorities were easily able to track Lawrence down. And at first, this man tried to deny it and deny everything. But so he would try to deny the accusations and even tried to portray himself as the victim. Yeah. He tried to claim that Mary attacked him, that she was lying, like just making up all of these
The 15-year-old.
stupid, odd, crazy stories of what happened. But like, bruh, you cut her arms off. No one's buying that shit. Like, one of you is missing both of your arms, and it's not you, bud. Like, no, sir. So, thankfully, his claims were disproven by the insane amounts of physical evidence, such as blood and hair in the back of the van,
Shocker.
that were Mary's. Shocker.
Even with primitive
They didn't even
forensics.
have DNA testing back then, but they were like,
Logic
yeah, I think we
prevailed.
know. I think we know who that came
Thankfully,
from.
logic prevailed.
They also found the hatchet that was used in the attack, so, I mean,
He
boom, boom,
did a
boom.
good job covering, obviously.
Obviously. I mean, he thought she was dead. I don't think he expected her to live.
You should,
You should still clean up better.
yeah.
Actually, no. Don't clean up better. Be terrible at doing your crimes so that you get caught.
Or just don't do the crimes.
Don't do the crimes. But if you do the crimes, be terrible at cleaning up after them. That is all. So, in 1979, Lawrence stands trial for kidnapping, rape, attempted murder, and mutilation. Sorry. Obviously, this story drew in a lot of attention nationwide due to the extreme nature of it. Like, it's not every day you hear a story of a woman, a 15-year-old girl at that, surviving what Mary went through. And our girl Mary, who is forever the badass, faced her attacker in court and took the stand to testify him, giving vivid details of the attack so that there was no doubt in that jury's mind what happened.
Just hold up your arms. Or like they're rough.
Look, right? Yeah, so she was very, very brave and was able to go into court and stand up in front of him and testify still, which, from what I've heard, is extremely hard to do if you're a survivor of something like this. Like, I can't imagine having to, go up there and try and stand in front of that person and be even in the same room as them. Just,
Bro, I would just
Ooh.
want to.
I would just want to curl up in a ball and be like, "Bye, I'm out." Just roly-poly on out.
I've never obviously been in that situation, but I feel like I would let the rage and hatred fuel me and just.
Right. Yeah, that's my hope, is I'd let my rage fuel me and to go on. But Lawrence, however, showed no sympathy and still tried to say he was innocent. He was found guilty on all charges. Shocker, I know.
Gasp.
And was sentenced to the maximum amount of prison time in California for these crimes at the time,
I already saw.
which was 14 fucking years.
Pardon your French.
Oh no, don't pardon it. That's ridiculous. This man chopped off both of her. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
And armor's worth 7 years, apparently.
I guess so. But wait, there's more, and we're all gonna be pissed in about 20 seconds. So
level.
obviously the public is outraged with how little time he was given. And then he was eligible for parole after 8 damn years.
How old was
And
this
he
guy?
was given it. At the time, I don't know. I didn't look up his age. But yeah, he was paroled after 8 years.
Bro.
Are you fucking kidding me?
People with weed are like still in prison after
Yeah,
that long.
just it makes me so mad. So, as you can all imagine, this would have huge consequences. Many people were outraged and terrified, especially Mary and her family. I mean, can you imagine hearing that the man who did this to your daughter, did this to you, was out of jail after 8 years and that was it?
Well, I'd find him.
Oh, I would too. I'd find him before the cops could. There'd be no hope for that man.
I'd serve my time. I think it'd be worth it.
I know enough about forensics to not serve the time. It's fine.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So his parole was granted partially on account of good behavior. Oh, you mean, he didn't have access to young girls that he could assault and mutilate, so he was well behaved in prison? That's what we're telling me? Because he didn't have access to the type of people he liked to attack, he was suddenly so well behaved?
The concept of that is just asinine, in my opinion.
Stupid. So stupid. So, however, once he got out, everywhere he tried to resettle, the public would protest and force him out.
Good.
Get on.
No one took things in their own hands?
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, no.
Darn.
He eventually went back to live in the trailer housing that's on the property of San Quentin Prison where he had been incarcerated. And then eventually he moved back to his home state of Florida. Now, Lawrence would prove why he should have stayed locked up because 9 years after his attack on Mary, on February 19th, 1997, in Sulphur Springs, or 9 years after he moved to Florida, sorry, my timeline got a little messed up. 9 years after he moved, in 1997, he would murder Roxanne Hayes, a 31-year-old mother of three. Roxanne was a sex worker who Lawrence had lured to his home, and then he brutally attacked her and stabbed her repeatedly. A neighbor would hear the screams and called the police. Good job. See something or hear something, say something, call the police. I don't care if you think you're overreacting. Call the police. Do it. Do it. I don't care.
Yes.
Overreact. Just overreact, please. And when they arrived, they would find him standing over her lifeless body, covered in blood.
I guess he didn't do it?
No, there's no way he's getting out of that. He 100% did it. So this reignited the outrage across the nation over the fact that he had been released, clearly showing why he should have stayed in prison the first time. Wow, that sounds so familiar. Looking at you, Rodney Akala. Looking at you. Anyway, Mary would actually come to testify at the trial for him being sentenced for Roxanne Hayes' murder as well. And again, obviously, he'd be found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to the death penalty because that was allowed in Florida.
Yeah, but did he actually serve it?
Unfortunately, no. He would stay on death row until he died of cancer in 2001.
Boo.
Boo. That one is just more so, like, with death row, like, they're so backlogged, apparently, that happens way more frequently than you would think.
I mean, I don't work in the
I don't know how
industry.
it works.
It's gonna sound shitty, but it's like
Conveyor belt these people.
it was like how long does it take to kill someone?
But also, a lot of these people get stuck on death row for a very long time too because some of them are given chances to like overturn the convictions, or they're trying to overturn these things and like fight it still legally. Because there are some people who are on death row who should not be, who were put there wrongfully. Like,
Absolutely, but then there's shit like this, like
and then there's shit like this.
expedite him.
Expedited.
I mean, he died anyway. He died in prison, but
of cancer, but still. Blech.
I still stand by my stance that
Yeah.
I support death row.
It's just,
It's almost like every time though they sentence to that, some shit happens.
I know.
And they don't like take it out.
I know.
This is a very morbid episode.
This is a very morbid episode. So sorry. It's almost done. So these attacks would obviously bring to light the glaring issues in the justice system as far as like violent offenders being released and paroled early. And this actually led to a lot of reform in California law so that things like this couldn't happen again. So like these violent offenders weren't just getting out willy-nilly and being paroled for, oh, good behavior. Like, no.
That's the law too, but that's on the judge. Like,
You had to, well, he sentenced him to the maximum time he was allowed, which was 14 years.
yeah, exception.
Right? Like, I
Life.
wish, but unfortunately, that's not how that works. But in good news, Mary would actually take her trauma and use it as a platform. And she would go on to be an advocate for victim rights organizations. She would be talking about the dangers of violent offenders and them being released too early. And like I said, she turned her trauma into a platform to help ensure that no one else suffers the same thing that she had gone through, especially with him being released early and the fear that she must have gone through after that. And yeah, that is the story of Mary Vincent.
It was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Can we do a more lighthearted one? A lighthearted, like, a kid stole a candy bar from Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. He was only turning into a blueberry.
I'll uh I'll see what I can find. I think the next one I'll try to do something like maybe like a bank robbery. Ooh. Maybe I could find the one that is the reason that we call it oh, what's it called? What's it called when like you're trapped by a person and you fall in love with them?
Stockholm Syndrome?
Stockholm. Yeah. I can find the case that led to the creation of Stockholm Syndrome
Oh.
because it's actually BS.
Yeah?
Stockholm Syndrome, total BS.
Oh, well, I guess we'll have to
I'll
find
find
out
out.
next episode.
Yeah, you'll find out on the next true crime episode about that one. We'll do that one next.
Yeah, a little history on it, too.
Yeah, that one is pretty wild too. But like, no one dies, which is nice at least.
I think I could take a break away from, like, mutilation and, like, death and
Couldn't
freaking.
we all? Couldn't we all?
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of Cozy Creeps. And again, here at the bottom of the episode, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, all under Cozy Creeps Podcast. You can also email us at cozycreepspodcast.com. You can email us your own stories about true crime, paranormal, aliens, any weird occurrences in your life that you may have.
Which you did last Tuesday.
Which you did last Tuesday. Honestly, at this rate, I'll take it. You can also email us your recommendations for stories if we haven't told a story that you'd like to hear yet, which is pretty fair. We haven't had that many episodes. You can also comment or DM me on any of our social media platforms. I regularly am checking those, so I will see it and I will get those recommendations so we can do those next. And we will be getting these episodes out weekly. Like we say every week, we're both working, we're both parents, obviously, to the same child. So
I know it's got to be said, I guess.
I mean, I just felt like the way I said it, like we're both parents sounds weird. Like obviously we're both parents to the same child.
What if we just weren't married? We're just two really good friends.
Who are you? Best friends.
Anyways, next week will be another kind of wacky one, I think.
Yeah, he's gonna be doing next week's again. He had a topic he wanted to cover, so he's gonna do it again.
It's probably gonna be multiple topics of the same theme. We'll see.
I believe in you.
Me too.
Yeah. You gonna do the Puckwudgie?
No, that's yours.
Okay, I'll do it. That's fair. We're gonna do the Puckwudgie soon, don't worry. He just heard that name and I was like, oh, I know about that. He's like, is that like a shorter episode? I was like, no. So we'll cover the Puckwudgie soon too, fret not. But
And the Will of the Wisp,
and,
Keanu.
and the Will of the Wisp, Keanu, fret not. We'll get there. We're working on it. Chill. Chill. But yeah, send us all your recommendations. Send us your listener stories. We'd love to hear them all. And with that, go bundle up in your warm blanket, finish off your comfort drinks, and stay cozy. Bye.